Okay, hello everybody. My name is Leslie Williams. I'm in San Diego, California. I live in La Jolla. I am what is known as a targeted individual, a target of at least organized stalking, which can also be termed as gang stalking. And when I say at least, well, you can go to Google and YouTube and type in non-consensual military human experimentation and gang stalking. Gang stalking is not stalking by gangs. Gang stalking, organized stalking, is a type of a crime, and that is the name of it. Okay? Bear with me, because you're going to find this video interesting if you stay with it, because of the information I'm going to disclose in it. In order for you to be able to understand the subject matter of this particular video, what I'm going to have to do is preface, give you an introduction by layering a foundation that it's gonna build. Okay, as I continue to speak, this foundation will then the foundation and the descriptions are going to disclose to you the picture of the subject matter, so you can then take what I state and research the descriptions, cross-reference, synthesize, and you will be able to find the documentation online that backs up my statements. Understand, stay with this video, because I guarantee if you do, you will be glad that you did. Literally. So I'm going to fly right into the meat and potatoes of this video as soon as I can get a cigarette lit, because I just got to this area and I'm kind of sweating and kind of exhaling from the, hang on, a squirrel. Let me light the cigarette. I'm just going to interject a footnote too. If anybody comes to this area as I'm talking, claiming they heard me, saw me, or saw my property, or come here for any other reason, it'll be nothing but a propped up staged event directly connected to, but not directly connected to, organized stalking, GPS tracking on my cell phone, but that's not the only way that they can know where you're at. Alright, now I'm going to get to the meat and potatoes. I'm going to start describing to you this foundation. Go to YouTube and type in Terminator space video Cortex, and what you're going to do is you're going to and then hit enter, and what you're going to do is you're going to come up with a video. You'll see it right away once you hit enter, because a number of videos will come out, and you'll see like a picture of the guy that I think played in Terminator 2, okay, and there's kind of like red, okay, within the still frame picture of the video. Once you see that, you'll know that you got to the right one, and Video Cortex and Terminator is mentioned in the title. So bring it up, click on it, bring it up. Now the reason why I'm telling you to do this, click on it, bring it up, but don't play it yet, okay? Then go to Google and type in remote neural monitoring. Try to find the lawsuit concerning the NSA versus John St. Aclara. I think it's spelled A-L-E-C-W-I something. Trust me, you'll find it. Just play around with the letters. Hold on. As a result of you researching remote neural monitoring, you'll clearly be able to see that this technology, which is not the only technology that can be used against an organized stalking, gang stalking target, but it does give you enough information in it to help you understand what I'm going to say, and additional websites will come up, like for psychotronics, that will also give you other additional information pertaining to other technologies that can absolutely be being perpetrated against organized stalking, gang stalking targets for multiple different criminal motivations, military, non-consensual human experimentation included. So I'm going to get right into the details here. The reason I asked you to bring up that video and then the remote neural monitoring file is because you'll be able to see in that video, once you watch it, and in the remote neural monitoring information that's on Google, you'll be able to see that they have technology that can access the audio and video cortex, physiological signals. It can affect brain states. You can also go to YouTube and Google and type in John Hall satellite terrorism, and don't just watch those videos and the information that comes up on Google when you type that in, but also research everything that he has disclosed, because you'll see he's talking about other avenues out, other additional technologies and things that are happening to organized stalking targets as well. Remember what I said. The best thing to do is to take all the information that I described, research it in-depthly and thoroughly with a mature posture, okay? And then everything else that comes up when you study each description, and then cross-reference and synthesize, and you will see what I'm telling you. Well, is it the truth? I gotta say that carefully for legal and strategic purposes, because the DOD, is it the DOD? Is it DARPA? Is it the Raytheon Corporation? Is it Echelon that is doing, and more, that is behind what is happening too in a bunch of different research companies as well? Are they behind a huge aspect of the torture that organized stalking, gang stalking, targeted individuals are experiencing? Now, organized stalking, I'll just say organized stalking targets, but you can also research each description by organized stalking, separate searches by gang stalking. Now, what was I going to say? Bear with me 1 second. All right, let me backtrack for a second, and then I'll remember what I was going to say. Hold on. I'm having one of those brain freezes. Now, oh, I remember now. Okay, so go to YouTube and type in United Targeted Individuals Europe, United Targeted Individuals Europe extended version, and watch that video. Pay attention to everything that's in it, and I'm sure there's going to be things in it that you're not going to understand. So don't dismiss the video or the truth of the matter just because you don't understand it. We learn, we distinguish ignorance through education, and the only way that you're gonna not be ignorant pertaining to what you observe is by just dissecting what you see and researching. So, but the technologies, the visual diagrams that are shown concerning the brain implants in that video is the main reason why I steered you to it. But you will also notice that these expeditions are going on worldwide, and you will witness American targets being in it as well. I don't view any American target to be any less or more important than anybody else that's suffering from these criminal realities all over the world. So, and there are going to be some things in it that probably even seem bizarre to you. Don't dismiss them. Trust me. Now, so what I'm doing right now is I'm going to talk to you about some memory relay brain implants, some brain-to-computer interface implants, some stimulated responsive implants. Those usually have to do with brain stimulation and stimulating physiological signals. Hold on. And brain states. Now, the reason why I brought up the remote neural monitoring file, because I wanted you to be able to witness that Terminator video where it talks about the video cortex. Okay, let me just put it to you this way. Do you know how, like, if you ever saw the first Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? It was way back in the either 80s or 90s. That part where the alien is watching a rock fall from the mountain, and this little triangle kind of fixates on it and is able to determine its fall, where it originated from, and as it's falling. Now take that and put it in your mind, and then cross-reference how in the Terminator movies, when the Terminator would see something and then a bunch of different graphs would come up, okay, on the pictorial representation that was dissecting like vectors, the distance, the coordinate systems, and everything in relation to what he was viewing. With organized stalking, gang stalking, targeted individuals, they can have nanobots and nanodots injected into their optical nerves. They can have eye lens implants put on their eyes. So basically, to give you an illustration of what I'm talking about here is, you know how sometimes when you spit and the ball of spit that comes out of your mouth will project out of your mouth and then break up into different parts and then land on the sidewalk? With what they're doing is they're trying to perfect this technology by creating artificial neural networks in reference to what the target individual sees with their video cortex as they're implanted with these aforementioned descriptions. So when the target individual spits, their mind will perceive the velocity, a grid diagram of the motion of the spit coming out, the velocity of it going, it landing, and all of the vectored mathematical equations that even make up the spit. As crazy and as far-fetched as this sounds, understand. The reason why they're doing this is because in order to be able to create artificial neural networks to upload them into either and or an artificial brain, a robot, they have to be able to use the neural activity of the target individual. Okay, the EEG signatures, the emotional clusters, the brain states even. Okay, to give you an example of how they have to see, because whenever you're processing anything through your perceptions, they're called perceptrons. not perceptions. Because these, whatever you deduce from your environment, you're using your eyes, all your senses, taste, touch, hearing, sight, and I think I forgot the fifth one. Sorry, I'm having a whiteout. But the point being is that what we perceive through these perceptions is processed through the brain. What they're doing is remotely neurally monitoring and using the brain implants to take the data that is processed through the perception, and then what they're doing is recording it, okay, including the memory relays. Okay, so what they'll do, like, let me give you an example. What they can do is anchor fear in the target's mind that they're going to be assaulted. And what they'll do is anchor that fear to a sound. Like, let me give you an example. Do you see me breaking this this twig right now? Well, let me give you a better one. Alright. Hold on. Do you see this twig right now? When you're out in the woods and it's all quiet, and then all of a sudden you start hearing this. You know, branches break, okay, and leaves being displaced. Your senses, you're going to hear that. That's going to automatically bring your sight to try and fixate on what you're hearing, where it's coming from, and who it might be. Well, in organized stalking, gang stalking expeditions, what they will do is intentionally, deliberately, mentally anchor fear in a target's mind that they're going to be assaulted by propping up lowlifes, social deviant people, people that look like they're definitely involved in something wrong. I think you know what I mean. Okay, threatening looking people, or people that look like that they're definitely involved in things that they shouldn't be. And what they'll do is prop these people up along a target's route to intentionally make sure that they mentally hear a threat and associate it to the target by saying the target's name as the threat's being done. Creatively threatening the target, and then a few days later or a week later bringing through the theme of the threat to assault the target, rape the target, rob the target, a combination of all three. Now this in turn will create disassociation, post-traumatic stress, and what this will do, and then what they will do is that they will continue these threats periodically along a target's route to make the target individual believe that it's going to happen again. Now hang on. Now what they can do is they can make sure that when the assault occurred, that it occurred at a place where the target individual heard sounds as the person that assaulted them is approaching them, and that the sounds that were heard or things that were said or seen as the assault was taking place or afterwards. These sounds will all be incorporated within that traumatic event. So what the brain will do is the brain will not only disassociate itself during this event, but the brain will also store the memories of it. With remote neural monitoring, they can go in, the brain will process the assault, all the sounds, the smells, what they saw, everything. The remote neural monitoring will literally store this. It can also identify the neural pathways that hold the memories of it. It can also re-stimulate those memories too, so the event can be re-experienced in the target's mind. And they will do it too. So you can go to Google and type in stimulation of memories and remote neural monitoring. You'll see I'm telling you the truth because it's right there. The point being is what they're doing is that just in this facet of this is that they're using memory relay chips in order to be able to, because brain states and emotional clusters and everything are also experienced during these physical assaults. So what they will do is bring about the threat, anchor the threat to induce the fear, reinforce the fear by repeating the threat periodically, and then bring about the theme of the threat, the actual assault. And this is all done so a neural pathway and neural network can be formed so the remote neural monitoring can store it. The EEG signals that were processed during the fear, the reinforcement of the fear, and then the event. The physiological signals can also be harvested. The emotional clusters can be as well. And then this will all be attached to a memory relay chip. Now, as a result, fear and everything is stored in this memory relay and inside the remote neural monitoring. And the reason why they do this, in part, is because Perceptrons are being created. They're called Perceptrons. Now you can go to YouTube and Google and type in artificial neural networks and perceptrons, and you'll be able to see that these types of brain states, physiological signals, EEG signatures, and emotional clusters can all be stored into a artificial neural network as a result of them being harvested as a result of these staged events and anchored fear that was intentionally brought about for these purposes. And the reason why they're doing this is because once these neural networks are created, they can then clone everything, attach it into a software program, upload it then into an artificial neural network to then be uploaded into a robot, including a Terminator robot. And the reason why they're doing this is because Terminator robots, when they will be used in the future, is because they're sentients, which are basically centrons, things that are brought about through the senses, events, and everything that I've already discussed. So the Terminator will be aware of environments and danger and anything that will stimulate danger to that robot as a result of the artificial neural pathway being stimulated through what the Terminator will pick up through its senses. So in other words, if you place a Terminator robot in the woods or in the city and it hears sounds, and that sound is attached to an event that produced danger, okay, what do you think that Terminator is going to do? The protocols in its software is going to be programmed to kill a human being because of what is stored in it. It's a memory relay chip that's going to be tweaked, spliced, okay, in order to bring about a physical action of the Terminator as a result of this memory relay kicking in the sentience of the Terminator robot. That's about as simple and as layman's term as I can bring to your attention right now concerning this. My name is Leslie Williams. I'm in San Diego, California. Now, when you go to Google and YouTube and you type in DARPA and Terminator robots, when you go to YouTube and type in Terminator robots and video Cortex, and then you cross-reference that to the fact that remote neural monitoring's got the ability to be able to monitor you neurally from a remote distance and access your video cortex while the targeted individual is already implanted with these aforementioned descriptions. And then you go to Google and you type in military non-consensual human experimentation and organized stalking, do the math, synthesize the information together, and see what they're doing. Remember in the movie Terminator movies, what was the Terminator's job? Look at it in its realistic terms. Look at it. What was the Terminator's job in the movie, all the Terminator movies? Not just to go after John Connor and Sarah Connor, but to go after humankind. You know, as crazy as this all seems, think about it this way. When you go to YouTube and you type in Timothy W. bioethics issues, you're going to hear him talk about neurocognitive weapons and brain entrainment. Basically what they're doing through all these different types of street theaters, which are staged events that they bring about against the target individual after fear has been anchored, this is brain entrainment. They're entraining neural responses, fear, anger, hate. Is this part of the reason why they're entraining hate? See, what they're doing also is they're using police officers to abuse targets, to violate their civil and human rights to the extreme, including even rapes by police officers and firefighters, falsified arrests, which produce prison, okay? This intentional abuse, it's intentionally done to form mental associations to a certain type of employment description, which has visual representations to it. Police officers wear uniforms and they carry badges. Absolutely. So, why would they want to program a robot, program artificial neural pathways through these aforementioned type descriptions for a targeted individual to hate the police and even government officials? Because when shit hits the fan later on down the road, whenever that might be, the Terminator will know who to target. The very employment descriptions that are supposed to be protecting our citizens. It's a process of elimination. When we look at our first responders, firefighters, police officers, ambulance drivers, and then we go on to doctors, nurses, these are just 5 employment descriptions that are supposed to help citizens, human beings. Now, If the Terminator's job is to exterminate human beings, and you got these 5 employment descriptions being attached to extreme abuse that the target individual experiences, he's going to have memory relays. Do you understand? So are these 5, at least these 5 employment descriptions, going to be imposed, superimposed within the artificial neural pathways for the Terminator to eliminate once shit hits the fan, and it will. Do you understand? These are intentional memory associations, so the artificial neural pathways can have them enclosed and infused within them. Memory relays, so the Terminator will know who to target. Now, if you think this sounds like bullshit, go to Google right now and type in police officers in gang stalking, firefighters in gang stalking, doctors in gang stalking, nurses in gang stalking, ambulance employees in gang stalking. Because when shit hits the fan, like let's say martial law, or say if we get hit by a nuclear strike, or something happens to where extreme, like martial law happens, what's going to happen is that the military is going to come in. Anything can happen on any date. We can be invaded, whatever. Do you really believe that any military, any part of the DOD, the DOI, the Office of Navy Research, and so on and so forth, do you really honestly believe that they're developing all these robots and all of these military aspirations for no reason? That would be like you or me going into a Best Buy or a Staples and buying a $6,000 computer and then taking it home and putting it in the friggin' closet and never using it. Think about this. Do you really think that they're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars not only developing this, but then making the robots and then never using them? Now, when you research how artificial neural networks are going to be incorporated within robots and Terminators, and then cross-reference that to the non-consensual military human experimentation of gang-stalking targets and what is happening to gang-stalking targets, and how artificial neural pathways are I think it's called also reverse brain engineering. You know, my name is Leslie Williams. Organized stalking, gang-stalking target individuals are literally being tortured. And here's another aspect of this. When we look at the sensitization methods that are brought about against the gang-stalking targets, about how the target individual will experience a rape, torture, a robbery, or a combination of all 3, while certain things are being visually shown to a target and said, like certain words like, oh my god, weird, crazy, even gang stalk, and how certain repetitive physical gestures will be intentionally done for the target to see. Now let's look at this. When you go to Google and you type in sensitization methods in gang stalking, repeating physical gestures, words, and then repeating words and phrases. This is done to stimulate, to create fear, reinforce it, so then the fear can be stimulated based on the repeated word, phrase, or physical gesture. Now they will sensitize the target to physical gestures that everybody makes. They will sensitize the target to at least 99% of the words and phrases everybody says. And they will make sure that the target individual sees every different type of person do this. Old people, children, adults, black, white, Mexican, you name it. Because these things and words and phrases have been associated to traumatic events that have produced artificial neural pathways and neural networks that can then be cloned into artificial neural networks. All of it associated to danger, fear, anger, and hate. The emotional clusters. Do you understand? So basically what they're doing is creating these things so all of the different types of people that the target sees doing this is stored in the memory relay. Once it's made into an artificial neural pathway and uploaded into a Terminator robot, the Terminator robot, whenever they see a human being doing these things, the memory relay will be kicked in, danger will be activated through the Perceptron artificial neural network, and guess what he's going to do? He's going to react to it. And is this what they're doing? I'm in San Diego, California, and my name is Leslie Williams. I made this video to inform, to expose the truth. Is this the truth? I made this video, please research what I'm saying, so you will see the possible criminal motivation of what DARPA is doing. Is this DARPA? Is this the DOD? And what's going to happen to me for exposing this? Cleverly. I made this video to inform, to expose the truth. Please research what I'm stating. Thank you.